FM.
It's 1 o'clock, time for the Joy Business Report. Coming up this afternoon, about 16 banks to record more losses this year as a result of the domestic debt exchange program. We'll hear from a report, and the coalition of individual bondholders group to picket Finance Ministry on Thursday to demand payment of bonds. Also, Unilever Ghana pushes for fair tax payments by all businesses to ensure local manufacturing firms are not disadvantaged. I am Beverly Broom. We settle for the details now. About 16 banks could record more losses this year as a result of the domestic debt exchange program. According to research conducted by banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene and KB Frimpong, the uncaptured losses of nearly 17.1 billion cedis could impact negatively the 2023 audited financial statements of 16 banks that did not capture the entire losses in 2022. That's more in this report.
Out of the 22 banks, only 6 banks managed to capture fully the impairment losses in 2022. The rest of the losses would have to be captured before the banks submit their recapitalization as requested by the International Monetary Fund Country Report on Ghana. The 16 banks are expected to include the remaining impairment losses of about 17.1 billion cedis in their 2023 audited financial statement, which could also impact negatively on their capital adequacy ratio and profitability. The 22 banks recorded impairment losses of about 19.4 billion cedis as a result of the domestic debt exchange program. This impacted their profitability. 8 banks' capital adequacy ratio, which measures the bank's accessible capital expressed as a percentage of a bank's risk-weighted assets and liabilities, is now below 13%. The domestic debt exchange program has resulted in losses. The report therefore urged the Bank of Ghana to periodically monitor the expected capital shortfalls and ensure the plans on rebuilding capital buffers are implemented.
That was a business desk report. Now, the coalition of individual bondholders groups has notified the government that members of the group will picket the Ministry of Finance to demand payments of their bonds. The coalition, which is made up of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana and Individual Bondholders Forum, consists of about 3,000 individual bondholders. Need for the business community to be well informed and updated on the impact of the International Monetary Fund program. This, the Chamber said, will aid local businesses to factor the effects of the IMF program in their long-term plans. According to the President of the Chamber, Clement Osei-Amoako, there should be more ambitious structural reforms to support businesses.
Given the potential adverse consequences of these reforms on businesses, it is crucial that business operators are well informed about the IMF program and its implication for their operation. It is equally important for them to implement measures that can effectively mitigate the negative impact on our businesses. Hence, the Chamber has taken this initiative to organize this edition of the Chamber National Dialogue.
You heard the Clement Osei-Amoako. He is the president for the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce. Now, consumer goods manufacturing company Unilever Ghana is pushing for fair tax payment structure for businesses in the country. This is to ensure that local manufacturing firms are not disadvantaged when competing with importers. The call by Unilever is coming at a time that government is working to present a mid-year budget review by the end of this month. This could result in government reviewing some of its tax measures for the next half of the year. George Owusu-Ansah is the managing director of Unilever Ghana.
Fair competition is in 2 ways: that everybody who brings products into this market pays the right tariffs and duties to the government of Ghana for the development of the country. That is number one. And so in that area, we work very closely with the Ghana Revenue Authority. We work very closely with its agencies like the Customs and Excise Department and also in our advocacy with government through the Ministry of Finance of the Supervisory Ministry to draw attention to how we make sure that there is a good understanding of the supply chain for the different products.
Managing Director of Unilever Ghana, George Owusu-Ansah. Former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor is calling for an enhanced efficiency in the operations of the Electricity Company of Ghana to avert the continuous threats of power cuts by independent power producers. According to him, if ECG is able to reduce its technical and commercial losses at about 30%, it could save the country millions of cedis to settle debts owed the IPPs.
First of all, ECG has to improve its efficiency. ECG loses about 30% of the power they buy, either in technical losses or commercial loss. And their margin, it's not 30%. Very few industries in this country will have a margin of 30%. So if you are losing 30% of what you buy, you are definitely not going to be able to pay for it in the long term. So the long term, the first one is efficiency. ECG itself has to reduce its technical and commercial losses to the barest minimum.
Meanwhile, spokesperson for the civil society organizations in the extractive sector, Dr. Steve Manteo, is calling for the auditing and streamlining of some funds paid in the energy sector. This is coming in the wake of demands of payments by the independent power producers for the debt owed by government. Dr. Steve Manteo urged the ECG to capture all consumers into their database to help reduce commercial losses in the energy sector.
There is a dimension that we must not overlook. There are too many energy funds and schemes that need to be audited and streamlined. We're talking about, for instance, ESLA. We don't know how much comes into ESLA and how that is managed. Then we have COVID levy. I think we need some transparency in these schemes.
That was spokesperson of CSOs in the extractive sector, Dr. Steve Manteo. The chief executive of the Ghana Telecommunications Chamber, Dr. Ken Ashigbe, is urging government to review the policy regulating the sale of spectrum for telecom service providers. According to him, the current structure is not competitive and not attractive enough for investors. Dr. Ashigbe was speaking at the launch of Console Connect, an internet service platform for Africa.
Our spectrum sale policy, for example, has to completely change. You cannot have the situation where you sell a 2x10, for 4G at 67 million, and then you take your comparator in, say, Tanzania, that has a larger market than you, the output is about the same as you, and is selling the same thing for 10 million. So what happens then is that when they spend 60-something million to do it, how much money then is left for them to invest to ensure that everybody gets it? So the way we price, but we also need, and this is where industry also needs to come to the table.
Now, for your pension tip on Money Lab, let's now hear from Kofi Poli, Chief Operations Officer of People's Pensions Trust, as he continues to shed more light on why you need to plan your pension.
Hello, welcome to Money Lab. My name is Kofi Poli, Chief Operations Officer of People's Pension Trusts. We continue with our pension tip based on Money Lab. Today, we are going to look at how to plan your pension. To plan your pension, two key things you should ask yourself. One, where you want to live in your old age, and two, how you want to live in your old age. We mean you need your health capital because if you don't take good care of your health during your youthful days, in your old age, it will show. And the little money that you have saved, you use to pay your medical bills. Your social capital is how you relate with the people around you, your colleague workers, old students, family, friends. Because in your old age, you may have so much time on your hands, and without having the necessary people around you, life can be very frustrating and boring. Thank you once again for being with us. Hope to see you again in our next episode.
And that's the end of the Joy Business Report, brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Do follow us on all our social media pages, including LinkedIn. Does your existing salary account give you more? Is your salary in the right account? Worry no more. The EcoBank salary account is here to help you. Open an EcoBank salary account today and enjoy free life insurance, which covers temporary and permanent total disability, critical illness, hospitalization, retrenchment, and death. With the EcoBank salary account, you have the ability to save as you spend, free debit card, access to loans, and more. The best part is that you stand a chance to double your salary in the EcoBank Double Salary Promo Reloaded from now till the end of July. So open an EcoBank salary account today by visiting an EcoBank branch or ecobank.com to open an account online for amazing benefits. Please beware of scammers who may contact you on this offer. Always visit an EcoBank branch or call EcoBank toll free on 0800 003225 for further details on the EcoBank salary account and the EcoBank Double Salary Promotion Reloaded. Terms and conditions apply. EcoBank is the Pan-African Bank. My name is Beverly Broom. Thanks so much for your company. Ignition is next. Do enjoy.